The humiliation. The morning began with a whisper of dust over the Ainsley ranch, soft, almost tender, as if the land itself feared disturbing the silence that had settled there. Mara Ainsley stood at the wooden fence, her hands pale against the rough grain, watching the horses stir beyond the paddock. She had been awake since dawn, waiting for Reed to come home. He hadn't. Her husband's absence was no longer unusual. What hurt more was how natural it had become. Once, Reed had been her promise of safety, steady, handsome, ambitious. But time had stripped away those illusions, leaving behind a man consumed by his mother's approval and the gossip of town. Lately, whispers reached Mara's ears about him and the widow, Elara Wynn. The words were never said to her face, yet they followed her like shadows that refused to disperse. When the Ainsley matriarch, Beatrice, summoned her that morning, Mara obeyed without question. She entered the great hall, its walls lined with portraits of ancestors who looked stern even in oil paint. Beatrice sat in her chair as though upon a throne, flanked by her two sons. Reed wouldn't meet Mara's gaze. "Do you know what disgrace you've brought upon this family?" Beatrice asked. Her voice carried the brittle chill of authority. Mara's lips trembled, but no sound escaped. Beatrice rose, the hem of her dress brushing against the floor like the hiss of a snake. "A wife who cannot keep her husband faithful is no wife at all. The neighbors laugh at us. The family name reeks of shame." It struck Mara then, not the accusation, but the cruelty of it. Reed had betrayed her, yet somehow she was the one on trial. Beatrice snapped her fingers. Two of the ranch hands entered, carrying a wooden stool and a pair of shears. "Sit," Beatrice ordered. Mara hesitated. Reed's eyes flicked up for a moment, hollow and distant. Then he turned away. A cold numbness crawled through Mara's limbs as she sat. The first cut of the shears echoed in the hall like a breaking branch. Strands of her dark hair fell around her feet, catching in the sunlight like dying feathers. Each snip carved away not just her hair, but her dignity, her identity, her years of silence endured for the sake of belonging. Beatrice's voice came again, sharp and unrelenting. "Let the world see what disgrace looks like." A bowl of soot was brought forward. Rough fingers smeared it across Mara's cheeks, her forehead, her chin, blackening her face until she could barely recognize her reflection in the silver tray they thrust before her. Her tears streaked through the ash like rivers cutting through burnt earth. No one spoke. Even Reed stood motionless, guilt painted faintly